here, we had thousands of people coming here. Because of the crush of people, my parents couldn't handle him in the kitchen anymore.
Today, all of the places associated with Laura Ingalls Wilder are museums, out-of-the-way destinations throughout the Midwest, for fans looking to connect with the pioneering family they feel they know.
I love seeing how personal some of these items are, the connection that people have with them, and just how much they care. A lot of people really like her library. They're very interested in what she read, what her literary influences were. Pa's fiddle as well.
I'm David Scribner, and I have here Pa's fiddle.
Why'd you vote me? I literally went down a hallway and that was
it.
it.
If you told me that 40 years later, we'd have these events and TV shows and go to these sites. Never in a million trillion years you told me that I would be talking to people from every country on Earth who would be crying at meeting me and the rest of the cast. Impossible.
The yearning to know more about the beloved author continued. In 1971, the first 4 years, Wilder's book about the early difficult days of her marriage was released. Its different style and tone raised new questions. By that time, Rose's role was already being examined.
The amazing thing about this is that scholars knew and were writing about Rose's involvement from the 1970s, but people just didn't accept it.
Later in her life, Rose became known for her politics.
Rose was sort of a rock star in today's slang to the libertarians.
And some passages, particularly in the last 2 Little House books, suggest her political hand at work.
She thought, Americans won't obey any king on earth. Americans are free. That means they have to obey their own consciences. No king bosses Pa. He has to boss himself.
Many of us, myself included, did not realize the political undertones to much of the series.
Why are they voting
me?
me?
Understand the ways in which political messages were put into dramatic scenes. I think that for Laura, it was absolutely not conscious at all. I think for Rose, it was
now they got that out of your system. You actually have to figure out who it is.
So in that sense, it wasn't conscious either. It was Rose being Rose.
Pioneer Girl, Wilder's early attempt to tell her story, appeared in 2014, 84 years after it had been written. It quickly became a publishing sensation as Wilder's 19th century stories climbed to the top of 21st century bestseller lists. They resonate.
Is that orange? You use your button for stupidity and...
The popularity is a really interesting phenomenon to me because this is a story of tremendous hardship. And yet it makes so many people feel so secure. It's emotional comfort food.
They were so engaging and they were so beautifully written and they were so charming. Like that I can remember details from those books literally almost 40 years later, and I still remember the book the first time I read it as clear as day. And I can't say that for books I read last week.
She's born just shortly after the end of the Civil War and lives until 1957. You know, the covered wagon to the atomic bomb is a real stretch. You know, it's an amazing life, not only in that sense, in the sort of larger sense of what has happened to society, but just what she has been able to achieve. You know, was born in a log cabin in the woods in Wisconsin and barely is able to, you know, put 2 cents together and dies with an obituary in the New York Times celebrating her career as a writer. So it was unimaginable, really, what she was able to accomplish.
Nearly a century after her first book was published, Laura Ingalls Wilder's voice is still heard.
Dear children of Chicago, I was born in the little house in the big woods of Wisconsin just 80 years ago.
I think you guys like learning about Laura Ingalls. This is my second video I'm doing. Got that in the background. Sorry.
Long ago. The way we live and your schools are much different now.
3 or 4 days the blizzard lasted. That's a long time to sit in a cold shanty, isn't it?
But the real things haven't changed. It is still best to be honest and truthful, to make the most of what we have, to be happy with simple pleasures, and to be cheerful and have courage when things go wrong. With love to you all and best wishes for your happiness, I am sincerely your friend, Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Next time on American Masters, meet 6 extraordinary women who forged their own answers to a profound question.
As a black woman, how does it feel to be free?
Lena Horne.
They blaze such a trail.
Abby Lincoln.
Like, do they just call meetings because they have nothing better to do? What is the motivation?
Accepted for her talent alone.
Diane Carroll.
We're at a new crossroads.
People like this waste your time.
First, action hero in American film.
Look for How It Feels to Be Free.
We'll see what happens here.
Next time on American Masters. To order Laura Ingalls Wilder, Prairie to Page on DVD, visit Shop PBS or call 1-800-PLAY-PBS. This program is also available on Amazon Prime Video. Major support for American Masters provided by...
These days, we need each other more than ever. That's why AARP created Community Connections, an online tool to find or create a mutual aid group, get help, or help those in need. Stay connected with AARP.
Laura Ingalls Wilder, Prairie to Page.
I guess I'm so here.
By a major grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities, bringing you the stories that define us. Support for American Masters provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by Rosalind P. Walter, Seton J. Melvin, the Blanche and Irving Laurie Foundation, the Vital Projects Fund, Cheryl and Philip Milstein family, the Lillian Goldman Programming Endowment, the Philip and Janice Levin Foundation, Judith and Burton Resnick, the Andre and Elizabeth Kertész Foundation, Ellen and James S. Marcus. Additional support for this program provided by Doug and Carol Baker Sr., the Leslie and Rosalind Goldstein Foundation, the Julie and Doug Baker Jr. Foundation, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Of course, my one and only witness.
So deeply interested in science. We haven't seen anything like this before. It was inspiring for me as a young person to be able to learn about
Yeah, I'm done with the lobby after this game. If you can't communicate, why be playing this game? Seriously. Like, this just seems to be... 2 lobbies I've been in today are just... People that... It's like, why do you bother playing? Because part of the fun in this game is to communicate with people and learn things about each other. And gaming styles and things, and these people only want to say where the body is, but then they get mad at you when you voted me off.
to the hotel room after a long day, and it was just me there, and it was very quiet. That was when I missed you all the most.
It got very worrying once I knew the virus was going to be a big thing. And with you gone, it was way harder. I just missed you.
I remember you'd drop groceries off and put them on the front porch. And that's when we started talking through the window next to our front door. You would talk on your cell phone, and the kids and I would sit behind the window. And I remember one of the hardest nights, I think you were just exhausted. You just had your head on the window and were crying. But eventually, you started sleeping in the basement, and I would not let the kids go past the top of the basement stairs.
We had to stay far away, but I just felt better that you could be like a part of us. It's still very hard, but it's nice to see you, Dad.
You have been so helpful to Mom, so thank you. Okay?
Thanks.
I remember once you came into the basement, the best night I had yet. You know, your coworker had made all these different dishes for us. You sat at the bottom of the stairs in a rocking chair, and I was at the top.
I remember that, yeah. I even remember the food. It smelled so good.
It was the first time we had been able to connect in so long. And as crazy as it sounds, it's the best date I've ever had with you in my life.
Without you, I wouldn't have been able to do what I've been able to do at work. You have to be absolutely everything to our 4.
I mean, I cleared you. What were you getting at?
Love you more, and I know it hasn't been easy.
Woo, we guessed right.
These are tears of happiness. Roberto, I admire you so much. Always admired you,
guess it crashed
you've done
again.
things these past couple
Well,
months that seem
hope you guys
impossible.
enjoyed it. Have a good day.